Recently, the New Yorker released information and details regarding the second accuser in the Brett Kavanaugh debacle. Deborah Ramirez alleged that Kavanaugh had taken his pants down at a party and then thrust his hips toward her face, and she unfortunately touched him as she was pushing him away. Now, Trump decided to weigh in on these allegations, and as you can imagine, he didn't have very nice things to say.
36 years ago, nobody ever knew about it, nobody ever heard about it, and now a new charge comes up, and she said, well, it might not be him, and there were gaps, and she said she was totally inebriated, and she was all messed up, and she doesn't know it was him, but it might have been him. Oh, gee, let's not make him a Supreme Court judge because of that.
So I knew that people, specifically people who are supportive of Kavanaugh, would really latch onto the fact that she had admitted to being drunk at the time that this happened. And that was one of the reasons why she didn't come forward in the beginning. She talked about how embarrassing it was. She was embarrassed by the fact that she was drinking. She was worried that people would smear her for that. And so that's exactly the way that it's playing out now. In the very beginning of his statement, he was actually talking about the first accuser, Dr. Blasey, and he said nobody has ever heard about it, which is, again, completely false. Back in 2012, when she went to couples therapy with her husband, she talked about the alleged sexual assault and then did so again later. And so to say no one knew about it is just an outright lie.
So, of course, Trump couldn't help himself and was going to weigh in on this. And of course, he's going to come out aggressively against the woman. That's what he does every single time. In fact, I'm surprised that it wasn't more vicious, but hold, tick, 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 right? Wait for that to come. Overall, the Ramirez situation, as I've said now many times, cuts two different ways. One is that her saying there's gaps in my recollection, and in the beginning I wasn't positive that was him. For me, if I'm a juror in this case, that makes me believe her a lot more, because who would admit that if they're trying to set him up? So you can't have it, and that doesn't mean that she's right. I'll get to that in a second. But you can't have it both ways. You can't say it's a political hatchet job meant to smear him, and she says she's not sure that it was him in the beginning. Well, if it was a smear job that was to get him, she would have definitely said, oh, I know for a fact, I never had any questions about it, it was definitely him. She doesn't say that at all. She says, to be honest, I had trouble recollecting, but I'm now sure that it was him, okay? So you would never say that if it was a smear job, never, that makes no sense, okay?
Exactly, yeah.
So it can't be both. Now, but if I was on a jury, would I convict on that? I'd say, look, she wasn't even positive in the beginning, so I probably, to be honest with you, would not convict on that. But as one of our viewers just pointed out while we're doing the show live, but it's not a trial. He's not gonna go to jail. That's not what this is about. He's applying for one of the most prestigious jobs in the country. And so if you had this kind of accusation and while you're trying to get a job at a company, you probably wouldn't get the job. And so, and he's applying for a lifetime appointment. So it's a little bit of a different standard, and make of that what you will. The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.